And as the gap in knowledge between what the average customer is doing and what a company's innovation actually looks like, as that gap increases, I think it becomes incredibly important that we improve our systems to bridge the gap of knowledge. I think video is going to be an essential part of that, and it's something we're going to increasingly use as a technology company.
I think what we're going to see is a lot more data used, and so that we can develop more predictive and, I'd say, anticipating what customer needs. So there's a wonderful intersection between a human touch of getting a message across and talking to a customer, but that is powered by information and behavioural data, that so we know that what we're talking to them about is relevant.
Cellular molecular systems, we're being more and more able to show those in a really accurate way, where previously we just didn't have the computing power to show correct numbers of proteins in a cell, correct numbers of lipids in a membrane, cells in a tumor. These were always, we were forced to go for artistic representations there because the sheer numbers were impossible. You couldn't easily make 10 million cells.
I think whatever the communication experts are developing, it needs to be more focused, needs to take less time, more quality, less quantity. So going directly to your audiences with the right message and not being confused with kind of just simple salespeople or so selling some cheap stuff or so, or the next software or something.
In 2025, I think our KPIs as communicators in general, but specifically in the life sciences sector, will be about creating a much wider understanding for the need for innovation and the environments that support innovation. So whilst you might say, well, that's an objective rather than a KPI, I think we'll be measured much more on the outcomes that our communication efforts can achieve to enable science, to enable companies to achieve their goals, rather than on outputs.
In terms of social activity moving forward, I think we're going to start to see a lot more live events. So things like live Q&A, live video feed, vlogging. I think we're now more comfortable with the social media platforms themselves, and we know how to use them. And what we've now got to do is create something that becomes really part of that communications journey for those clients, but that integrates seamlessly with the rest of their communication suite as well.
We will need to embrace visual and video communication. That's a rapidly growing trend, which has filtered down to B2B.
In 8 years' time, in 2025, a Director of Communications role will be even busier than it is now. I think 8 years ago, there was less work. Now there's a lot more work, and in 8 years' time, there'll be even more work. And that work will be incredibly valuable. But the reason for that will be that the opportunities will just multiply.